In this video, we're going to look at the Leo Aquarius axis. We're going to look at if you have the ascendant in Leo, and we're going to look at if you have the ascendant in Aquarius. And then we're also going to look at if you have Rahu and Ketu placed in each one of these two rashis. All right, everybody, once again, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch my little video here. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. Then also, if you're interested about Leo and Aquarius, maybe you have planets in Leo Aquarius and don't really understand how it's working out in your life, you can go onto my website, danceofthecosmos.com, and request a reading with me, and then we can go over that information. I also do astrology tutoring as well if you're wanting to learn more about it. Now, so let's go ahead and bring up this graphic right here. Let's go ahead and look at this here. We've got Leo and Aquarius. And the first thing to understand about Leo and Aquarius is this represents an axis. Looking at this graphic here now, you'll see that they are opposite each other in the zodiac. And when we start talking about Leo and Aquarius, everything I'm going to say today, it's really important to understand all other factors equal in the chart, because you really have to look at the planets that are in those signs, as well as where the lords of those planets are placed and everything else that's happening in the chart to really understand what's going on. So this is the baseline foundation principle of what these two signs indicate, because they are on this axis. So what is this axis all about? Well, the two qualities that Leo and Aquarius share are they're both fixed and masculine. And so fixed means steady, consistent, firm, and long-term, basically. And then masculine represents our activities and the things that we want to do in the world to affect our environment. And it's about activity. And so what is this steady activity that we want to do? Well, they both represent the opposite ends of this spectrum. So it's about how we're going to go about our daily life, but it's about like really more. So it's not about the changeable aspect like what Aries and Libra is, which is about kind of deciding where we're going. This is about being fixed in our activity in life. So let's go ahead and start talking about what we mean by that with Leo. Well, Leo, what we're going to see here is not only is Leo the image of a lion, I think it's in Yavana Jataka, where when it talks about Leo, it talks about one of the descriptive terms that it uses is it's like you're on a ridge overlooking a valley. And that's kind of what the idea of Leo is it's this is the being the image of a lion. I picture that lion up on the ridge, like it's overlooking its surveying its territory, presiding over its territory, because Leo is also represented by royalty, and Leo is a sattvic sign. So sattva is all about finding balance, doing things for the right reasons. And then when we're talking about like presiding over it, so what does that mean to us? Well, because if you think about this idea of presiding over our kingdom, that's that fixed masculine quality of Leo. And real quick, Leo's a fire sign. Fire signs again are related to the self and the fire of who we are and what it is that we want to achieve in life, or how we go about things, because fire signs are always masculine. And what's interesting here is that with this image of a lion and with the self is it's more about presiding over ourself and who we are and being okay with our internal nature of what our personality is, royalty, how we're placed in the world, sattva, how we relate, like how it is who we are that relates to our inside world, how we feel about ourselves, and the way that and not just ourselves, but the actions that we take and our ability to take care of our own kingdom. Leo has a lot to do with confidence and even self-esteem, in being secure in who it is, because fixed signs are all about security, because they want things to stay the same. So it's like our fixed activity of who we are, that what we do, how our inspiration is rolling through us, how we're able to preside over this energy, over the things that we're also responsible for as well, because royalty are always about is always about being responsible for something else. And then we'll also see that Leo is a quadruped, as a lion is a quadruped. So it's that idea of like just being able to keep going. Like, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and being able to move forward with our energy because we see what it is that we're responsible for. And it's kind of, quadrupeds are a little bit, I would say, you could look at it as it's a fast energy, but I would also look at it as it's a steady energy. Quadrupeds are very sturdy animals. They have 4 legs on the ground. It's hard to push a quadruped over. It's easier to push a human over because a human only has 2 peds, only 2 legs on the ground. So now let's look at this, the opposite context of this fixed masculine energy is we're talking about Aquarius. And Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius, really interesting now, Aquarius is the human sign. And what I'm going to talk about here is, so I wrote, to be really simple, I put the image of a pitcher because I can't remember which source calls Aquarius the image of a pitcher, but there's another source, I think it might be, it's either Brihat Parashara or Yavana Jataka, where it talks about Aquarius is a man holding a pitcher of water on his shoulder with water pouring in from above and water pouring out. And then when we see that in Jaimini Sutras, Aquarius is talked about as being like containers. It talks about anything that contains water. It talks about, I think Yavana Jataka mentions this also, that Aquarius is about anything that is containing water. And so it's this idea. So the pitcher contains water, but the man with the pitcher it's about providing for our community, for our fellow man. It's about the fixed actions that we can take to make this world a better place. And it's tamasic. So it's about being like doing it for the right reasons. Not doing it for the right reasons, but for trying to make things better, trying to make a better situation for other people. But being the fact that it's tamasic also does mean that it's dark. So Aquarius is a sign of, whereas Sattva and Leo, also Sattva can be related to like light, whereas tamas can be darkness. So this is almost like dealing with the darker nature of ourselves and trying to contain water, which is like the emotionality. It's what brings the nourishment of life. It's being able to be a container for life and to be able to help other people, because air signs are always about social things. It's about other people. Whereas Leo is about fire signs, about myself, being contained, being okay with this energy of trying to move forward with who I am, what I preside over, what it is that I do. Whereas Aquarius, now it's about working for other people, but it's about dealing with the dark side of working with other people, with this tamasic energy, which Aquarius is a very psychological sign, because it's always harder to let go of ourself, which is really what Aquarius is all about, is letting go of ourself and just helping other people get better and us taking on the burden of that. And finding out who we are amongst the group of other people, where we can find our little notch, where we can be our little Sudra self, which is, just trooping on and not asking for anybody's help and providing for other people, to make this world a better place. It's about community. It's about the other people in the world and how we can find our own little niche within the context of the greater world. So now, and so with the fixed masculine energy of Aquarius is just that, is about where am I in this world, amongst this world, whereas Leo is where am I amongst the actions that I'm taking, about how the great things that I can do to help the world, to help what I'm responsible for. It's like the world in context to me is Leo, and then Aquarius is me in the context of the world, and being able to be okay with that. So now if you have a Leo ascendant, so as I've talked about in the other videos, if you haven't seen those, I recommend you check out these other videos about opposite signs. So for a Leo ascendant, If your rising sign is Leo, your setting sign is Aquarius, your descendant is Aquarius, which that means that you're moving in this forward. Your typical growth pattern, again, all other factors equal, is going to be to move towards Aquarius. So a Leo person is typically the person who's naturally more responsible for their own kingdom, you know, about what it is that they can do, and kind of, because it's royalty, you know, I'm presiding over everything. How I can preside over the world, and the things that I can do to make this better, and to use my responsibility to help out those people or those things or that kingdom, whatever that is, to each of us that I'm responsible for, because it's a fire sign. But what these people need to work towards is they need to work towards Aquarius, of really seeing themselves in the context of the world, not just about building themselves up to be better and more responsible, but to find out like how I can help, what's going on deeper inside of me, so that I can open myself up. So I'm not just trying to contain my water inside of me, you know, my own life. You know, it's about opening that up, taking that life and doing what I can to help the greater good. Not just about my greater community and how it affects myself and how I'm cool with that, but how I can open myself up to the world, how I can be more helpful to other people, how I can look at that I'm actually part of a community and not just responsible for my own little narrow view of the world. It's really about opening ourselves up to that, to helping other people, to working for a greater cause that encompasses more than just our needs, but everybody's needs. And so that's typically what a Leo person needs to work on. Now let's flip the script here. Let's put Aquarius as the ascendant, as the rising sign on the east, and then Leo would be the setting sign. So this would mean that these people, an Aquarius ascendant, is a type of person that's more about dealing with their psychology of expanding their horizons and working for other people, wanting to help a greater population and a greater good, something other than themselves. But what these people need to really learn is to move towards Leo, all other factors equal in the chart, which the growth pattern for Aquarius then is to become more responsible for their own kingdom. Instead of just seeing everybody else as, you know, and where I fit in with everything else, how do I fit in with everything else? It's then the darkness that exists between me being able to break down my boundaries to help other people, where it's like, forget about trying to do that. Forget about trying to be this cog in the wheel. What we need to learn to do is to be the king of our own kingdom, to take care of the things that we are responsible for, and to become more of a leader, to stand out amongst the rest, to stand up and take care of what is our own lot in life, our own little personal kingdom that we need to take care of and preside over and be responsible for, and become more confident in who it is as we are as a self, as in who I am, this fire, this fixed fire that is me, and becoming more confident and secure and developing self-esteem instead of breaking down walls, which is what Aquarius is about, and helping other people. It's about not necessarily building up walls, but while we're breaking down those walls, to also realize that, you know, I need to do this, to do the Aquarius energy the best as an Aquarius ascendant, is to work towards Leo, which is like taking care, being confident in who I am, being secure, being a king of my own territory, and that way I'm able to help everybody else. That's kind of the nature of the Aquarius ascendant, all other factors equal. Now let's throw K2 in Leo and Rahu in Aquarius. K2 in Leo, it's very similar to a Leo ascendant. That's going to be somebody who in their past lives, in their past lives, plural, they've developed a tendency and a dependency even upon the nature of Leo, of it just being about my stuff that I'm responsible for, and kind of blinders to the rest of the world. I know what it is that I need for this little slice of my kingdom to make it good, to be confident in who I am. And the more that they do that in life, the more that they just focus on their own kingdom and their own responsibilities, the more they're going to be pulled into situations with Rahu and Aquarius, of being forced to look at themselves and in the greater context of all the other kingdoms that are out there. Because that's the other thing too, is that a kingdom, so with Leo, like a kingdom is just always one part of the world, right? and there's many kingdoms throughout the world, and that's what Aquarius is it's working with the other kingdoms. How can we create something bigger? And so for every time this person, for K2 and Leo, for people with K2 and Leo, every time they try and lean into this and just try and lean on their own ability to take care of their own resources and what works kind of best for them, and to do the best to do that, they're put into a place of Aquarius, which is like, wow, it's this foreign territory now, because Rahu represents confusion, illusion, and it represents foreign territory because it's a new karmic experience to us that we have zero experience coming into life with, where it's like, wow, now I have to deal with the fact that the more I try and just do things on my own with my own skills and inherent intelligence that I have, the more I'm forced to realize that there's other people and there's other things that I need to take into consideration. And now other people are asking me to do things, and then I'm forced to look inside of myself and see that, I have to deal with my own psychology of how do I break out of just this single person? How do I work for more people? So like, let's say you were in a work environment. So with a Leo work environment is a person who's proud of, they have their own desk right here, right? And they have their own cubicle or maybe their own office. Well, this person, the more that they try and just stay in their office, the more they keep getting pulled into meetings, the more that they're forced to listen to what everybody else thinks so that they can go forward and find the best solution that works for everybody, where they have to give up their own kingdom. They have to give up that idea of like, let me just stay in my office and in my desk and do my job this way. Now they're being forced into working in a huge group environment. Maybe they're forced to be part of this intense network of like, okay, well, now you have to do, instead of you just taking care of your office here and your own little responsibilities at work, now I want you to go ahead and be part of this overall network of people, executives we have all across the world inside of this corporation. It's like, this is being self-employed. This is like working for a corporation where everybody, let's just say in this corporation, everybody's equal. Like, this is being on the board of directors now, instead of just being a sole proprietor. Now, so now let's flip it over the other way with K2 and Aquarius. This is the type of person, their karmic experience that they're bringing from past lifetimes is that of always working for the greater good and listening to other people and working for other people. Like, how can I fit into the bigger picture? How can I fit into different groups and how I can fit into communities and not really establishing their own personal identity. So the more that people with K2 and Aquarius try and lean into, let me just be part of this greater community, let me just help out as many people as I can, and always working for like a greater cause, the more they're pulled into environment where they're forced to look at who they are. They're forced to do things on their own, or they're forced to develop their own, or they realize that they don't have the self-confidence to do things in life. And that's kind of what we get with Aquarius, is it's like we rely more upon just being part of the world, being part of another community, fitting in with the herd, basically. Whereas then with Rahu and Leo, it's like we get pulled out of the herd. We get forced to do things on our own, forced to look internally even. This is very psychological when we involve Leo and Aquarius. Being forced to look at like, well, geez, now who am I? Where do I get the power to do these things? Because what happens is we get pulled out of situations with K2 and Aquarius. In this lifetime, even though we have a very good ability to work in that same office environment, where it's like I'm working on the board of directors. Now, the more that you try and listen to the other board of directors and do what's best for everybody in the corporation, the more that you get forced into having to do things on your own, having to be like, well, what having to become that sole proprietor of the business and not listen to the director. It's like, no, now you're forced into a CEO type mentality of like, what can I do that's best for everything is underneath me now, everything that's within my kingdom, which is the kingdom of the self, right? And my fixed nature of where can I get confidence at. So Rahu and Leo people are typically people who would rather listen to everybody else and just work for the community And Rahu and Leo is about people who lack the confidence, who are learning to develop the confidence, because there's a lack of confidence because it hasn't been developed karmically in the past. So it's about becoming more secure in ourselves, basically. So anyhow, that's the best way that I can choose to explain it right now. This video is already long enough, so I mean, in the future I will go into longer videos or individual videos of where the nodes are placed to the signs. But anyhow, so thank you for taking the time to watch this. And if you like the material, please subscribe. If you're wanting more information about this and how it affects your chart, you can request a reading on my website, Dance of the Cosmos. And you can also request astrological tutoring as well. And thank you for watching. And namaste.